The winds of change are stirring, and the moment you sense is more than coincidence. Tonight, I share truths whispered for centuries within the walls of Shaolin temples, secrets rarely spoken outside the path of mastery. On October 15th, a shift approaches unlike any before, touching not only the world around us, but the unseen currents within. These are not mere predictions. They are guides for those who walk deliberately, who seek clarity when chaos surrounds them. For years, Shaolin teachings have passed quietly, teaching that strength begins not with force, but with presence. Few understand the depth of this practice, how stillness sharpens the mind, how discipline frees the spirit, and how attention to subtle energies transforms ordinary life into something extraordinary. Tonight, you will uncover lessons hidden from the casual eye, insights that reveal the inner architecture of courage, resilience, and self-mastery. You will learn how the choices you overlook, the fears you ignore, and the attachments you cling to shape more than your days. They shape your very being. These are messages for those ready to rise beyond distraction, beyond noise, beyond the illusions that bind ordinary perception. The shift arriving is not a distant event. It is reflected in every heartbeat, every breath, every moment you claim awareness over your own life. By the end of this journey, you will sense the quiet power of presence, the subtle energy of intention, and the profound clarity that comes only when resistance dissolves. This is an invitation to step closer to your true self, to see beyond the surface, and to prepare for the transformation already unfolding. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. Subscribe and stay with us, for the path of mastery is illuminated not by luck, but by those who choose to walk it with focus, courage, and heart. Silence is more than absence of sound. It is the space where truth quietly reveals itself. In the heart of Shaolin practice, mastery begins not with movement but with presence, an unwavering attention to the now. Every breath, every step, every heartbeat carries a lesson, if only it is observed without distraction. To resist the present is to resist life itself, to close the door on the subtle guidance that whispers in stillness. The monks teach that presence is not merely awareness of surroundings, but an intimate communion with each passing moment. In training, a strike is not only physical, it is an expression of the mind's focus, the clarity of intention, and the harmony between inner calm and external action. A single misstep is rarely about the body. It is the mind wandering, lost in yesterday or tomorrow, forgetting the delicate rhythm of now. Mindfulness becomes the bridge across this gap. It is not a technique to master quickly, but a practice cultivated over years, gently shaping the mind to observe without judgment. The breath anchors the spirit, the senses illuminate the path, and the heart learns to move in sync with the unseen currents of energy around it. In this alignment, ordinary actions gain depth, ordinary moments become profound. Every encounter, every choice, and every fleeting thought holds the potential to awaken insight, yet only if met with full attention. The world moves quickly, and distraction tempts the mind with comfort and escape, but the Shaolin way calls for courage, the courage to remain present, even when stillness feels uncomfortable, even when life pressures pull toward reaction. Presence transforms simple awareness into wisdom, chaos into clarity, and hesitation into decisive action, for mastery is nothing without the mind fully here, fully alive, fully engaged in the sacred unfolding of the moment. The horizon often appears shrouded, the path ahead hidden beneath layers of shadow and doubt. True mastery is born not from certainty, but from the courage to step forward when the next step cannot be measured. In the quiet halls of Shaolin, monks learn early that life rarely unfolds according to plans. The only constant is change, and the only security lies in the mastery of self. Fear is not an enemy, it is a guide, signaling the edges of comfort and the limits of familiar thought. To pause at its arrival is natural, yet to allow it to dictate action is surrender. The Shaolin way teaches that each moment of hesitation contains opportunity, the chance to observe the mind, to understand the roots of doubt, and to act with intention despite its presence. Courage is cultivated in the small, repeated acts of choosing the unknown over the safe, the untested over the predictable. discipline becomes the anchor in uncertainty. Daily practice, precise movements, and mindful rituals prepare the mind to move steadily even when the ground beneath is uncertain. In these moments, mastery reveals itself not as domination over circumstances, but as calm and clarity within them. The body may falter, the environment may shift, but the inner compass remains unwavering, guided by intention, awareness, and the steady rhythm of breath. Ancient teachings remind that the path is never fully visible. Shadows conceal both danger and treasure, and only those who walk with attentive presence uncover the hidden lessons. Each encounter with the unknown is a mirror, reflecting the fears and strengths of the seeker. To embrace uncertainty is to embrace life itself, fragile, unpredictable, and endlessly rich with possibility. In this embrace, mastery is not measured by control, but by the quiet confidence to advance step by step into the unfolding mystery of the moment. The world often praises motion, achievement, and visible progress, yet the deepest strength arises not from what is done, but from what is held within. In the quiet chambers of Shaolin practice, stillness is regarded as an art, one that demands patience, discipline, and courage. To sit in silence is to meet oneself without pretense, to confront every shadow, every unresting thought, and every hidden longing. It is here that true mastery begins. Stillness is not the absence of action, it is the cultivation of presence. Physical movement follows, guided by the clarity that emerges from quiet observation. The body, the mind, and the spirit are woven together in this invisible rhythm, and the alignment achieved in stillness directs all action with precision and purpose. Meditation is often mistaken for escape, but the Shaolin way reveals it as confrontation, the deliberate facing of one's own nature without distraction, judgment, or avoidance. In these moments, the mind softens without losing acuity. Thoughts flow like water, observed without clinging or resistance, revealing patterns and insights hidden beneath habitual noise. The body, unhurried and grounded, becomes a vessel of awareness, sensitive to energy, intention, and subtle guidance. The spirit awakens to its own rhythm, learning to move in harmony with forces that are felt rather than seen. Stillness sharpens perception, deepens understanding, and cultivates resilience. It is in this silent space that solutions arise, decisions crystallize, and clarity is born. Each breath anchors presence, each pause strengthens resolve, and each quiet moment becomes a teacher more profound than any spoken word. Mastery is not measured by outward motion alone, but by the depth of calm from which all motion emerges. In the art of stillness, one discovers the hidden architecture of self, a foundation that allows movement, action, and life itself to flow with purpose and precision. Discipline is often misunderstood as a chain, a limitation imposed from outside. Yet the wisdom of Shaolin teaches that true discipline is the path to freedom. It is not the absence of choice, but the conscious shaping of life through deliberate action. When the mind, body, and spirit are trained with intention, each day becomes a canvas upon which strength and clarity are painted. In the quiet dawn, monks rise before the world stirs, performing rituals that may seem small to an observer, yet each act carries profound purpose. These routines, repeated consistently, cultivate more than habit, they cultivate resilience. Every controlled movement, every mindful breath, every moment of restraint strengthens the inner core, creating a foundation unshaken by external turbulence. The mastery of self begins here, in the unseen victories of discipline, not in the applause of others. Freedom emerges not from abandoning structure, but from embracing it. When thoughts are ordered, emotions tempered, and actions guided by awareness, chaos no longer dictates behavior. The mind becomes a tool rather than a master. The body, a vessel of intent rather than impulse. Small choices, waking early, holding attention, practicing patience, compound over time, weaving an inner fortress of clarity and will. Shaolin teachings remind that discipline is the courage to return again and again to practice, even when desire wanes or distraction tempts. It is in these repeated efforts, quiet and unseen, that liberation is born. The restraint exercised today unlocks the freedom of tomorrow, the freedom to act decisively, to remain calm in turmoil, to respond with wisdom rather than instinct. Discipline then is paradoxical. The tighter its form, the wider its reach, granting mastery not through confinement, but through the limitless strength of a mind, body, and spirit, refined by steady, deliberate cultivation. Every movement, every thought, every fleeting emotion radiates energy, subtle yet undeniable. In Shaolin practice, awareness of this energy is as essential as breath itself. The novice learns first to feel the rhythm within, the pulse of life that moves beneath skin and bone, connecting mind, body, and spirit. Each intention, no matter how small, sets this energy into motion, shaping both the inner world and the reality one inhabits. Energy is never idle. A moment of anger can ripple outward, influencing not only the mind that harbors it, but the atmosphere that surrounds it. Joy, patience, or focused attention carries equal weight, quietly altering circumstances and inviting harmony. The wise cultivate awareness of these currents, learning to trace the source of feelings and thoughts, to discern which impulses serve growth and which disrupt it. In this observation, the seeker begins to act with precision, moving like water through life, responsive, adaptable, and potent. Mindful attention to energy is more than recognition. It is training the self to act consciously. The monk practices not merely to control the body, but to harmonize the unseen forces within and around him. Every choice, spoken word, or silent intention becomes a tool of manifestation, shaping outcomes not through force, but through alignment. The energy cultivated through discipline, presence, and stillness radiates outward, influencing both self and environment in subtle, transformative ways. Shaolin teachings reveal that reality itself is a reflection of inner currents. To act without awareness is to drift. To act with mindfulness is to steer. Observing the flow of energy, feeling its presence, and directing it with purpose creates not only personal mastery but resonance with the world. Those who understand this can move through life with clarity, turning thought into action, intention into form, and subtle energy into enduring influence over the self and surroundings. Life unfolds in patterns that seem unpredictable, yet each moment carries a lesson waiting to be observed. Shaolin wisdom teaches that external events are not obstacles to overcome, but mirrors reflecting the state of the mind. The world may appear chaotic, but the true battle lies not in changing circumstances, but in mastering the responses within. A single word, a sudden turn, or an unforeseen challenge test the practitioner's inner balance. The untrained mind reacts impulsively, driven by emotion and habit, often deepening confusion rather than resolving it. Reaction is the voice of instinct unchecked, the mind surrendering to the sway of circumstance. The path of mastery calls for pause, a quieting of impulse, a grounding in awareness, and the cultivation of clarity before action. Training the mind to respond rather than react requires patience and discipline. Through meditation, mindful observation, and deliberate practice, the practitioner learns to witness the arising of thought, to feel the surge of emotion, and to choose the manner of engagement. In this space between stimulus and action, chaos transforms into clarity, and the seeming randomness of life becomes an opportunity for conscious choice. Shaolin masters demonstrate that mastery over reaction is not suppression but understanding. Emotions are acknowledged, thoughts observed, and impulses channeled with intent. The practitioner learns to navigate conflict with composure, to meet challenge with discernment, and to act from the alignment of mind, body, and spirit. In this cultivation, the mind becomes a steady vessel, unshaken by external turbulence, able to discern the right path through uncertainty. Ultimately, the measure of strength is not in controlling others or circumstances, but in shaping one's own inner landscape. Each tested moment becomes a gateway, each challenge an invitation to practice calm, precision, and conscious presence, revealing that true power arises from mastery over self, not over the world. The mind often clings as though security resides in holding tightly, grasping outcomes, identities, or fears as if they define existence. Shaolin philosophy teaches that disattachment is the heaviest of burdens, binding the spirit and clouding clarity. True freedom arises not from accumulation or control, but from the courage to release, to surrender without abandoning purpose, and to trust in the unfolding of the present. Attachment is subtle. It hides in ambition, in the insistence on being seen a certain way, in the fear of losing what feels familiar. The monk observes these tendencies quietly, without judgment, recognizing that clinging only amplifies suffering. Every grasp, every insistence on certainty narrows perception and limits the capacity to move fluidly through life's inevitable changes. Spiritual growth is stunted when the heart tightens around what it cannot ultimately command. To let go does not mean apathy. Surrender is not abandonment of intention, but the practice of directing energy with awareness while releasing the illusion of control over outcome. Shaolin teachings show that when attachment loosens, the mind becomes expansive, sensitive to subtle currents, and aligned with the rhythm of life rather than resisting it. The body, breath, and thought flow together, creating a harmony that allows insight, creativity, and action to arise naturally. In the stillness of letting go, fear softens and clarity emerges. The self no longer struggles against the current, yet it moves with deliberate purpose. Each release becomes an act of discipline, a conscious choice to honor the present moment rather than cling to shadows of past or future. Over time, the practice transforms the seeker, attachment fades, awareness deepens, and the spirit moves lightly, carrying neither burden nor hesitation, yet acting with precision, courage, and profound intentionality. Every encounter carries a subtle reflection, a mirror held up by life to reveal the unseen within. Shaolin wisdom teaches that the behavior of others often illuminates unresolved patterns, unacknowledged fears, and hidden strengths within ourselves. The mind that observes without judgment begins to see that each relationship is a teacher, each conflict a doorway to insight, each connection a silent lesson in self-awareness. It is easy to blame, to label, or to react when another's words or actions stir discomfort. Yet the disciplined practitioner pauses, observing both the mirror and the reflection it casts. A harsh word may awaken an old wound. Impatience may expose a shadow of ego. Admiration may reveal desires unexamined. In these moments, the external world becomes an instrument for inner growth, showing what the mind often hides from itself. Awareness transforms interactions from mere exchanges into profound opportunities. The Shaolin approach emphasizes mindfulness in relationship, not control over others, but mastery over perception and response. By witnessing reactions, patterns, and emotional triggers, one learns to untangle the knots of conditioning and cultivate clarity. Patience becomes a tool, discernment a guide, and compassion a natural outcome of seeing both the self and others without distortion. Over time, the mirrors multiply. Every encounter, casual or intimate, challenges the practitioner to look inward, confront the unresolved, and refine the habits of thought and behavior. Growth accelerates not through avoidance, but through conscious reflection, through observing how the external world resonates within. The path of mastery is illuminated in these reflections. The clearer the inner lens, the truer the perception of others. In recognizing the mirror, the seeker gains both humility and power, learning to navigate life with awareness, balance, and the quiet wisdom that arises when self and world are observed as one seamless whole. Every action begins long before it is seen. It begins in thought, in the quiet decision of the mind. Shaolin teachings reveal that intention is the invisible hand shaping reality, the seed from which every experience grows. A thought, repeated and focused, carries weight beyond imagination, and a choice made with awareness plants the roots of consequence in the world. Mastery begins with understanding this subtle power and learning to wield it deliberately. Conscious intention requires discipline. The untrained mind drifts, scattering energy across distractions, reacting without awareness. But the practitioner cultivates focus, aligning each thought, each decision, each movement with purpose. Even the smallest action becomes profound when rooted in clarity. A step taken with full presence, a word spoken with mindfulness, a breath held in deliberate rhythm, all these act as seeds, shaping not only one's path, but the currents that ripple through life itself. Shaolin philosophy teaches that intention magnifies effort. Without alignment, effort dissipates. With alignment, even modest action carries extraordinary force. The mind, body, and spirit converge, and energy flows unhindered, amplifying the results of action. The disciplined practitioner learns to pause before acting, to sense the direction of energy, to question whether thought and intention are in harmony with purpose. In this alignment, power is not imposed externally. It arises naturally from clarity and awareness, radiating outward to influence both circumstance and self. Over time, the practice of intention transforms existence. Life ceases to feel accidental, each moment recognized as an opportunity to plant with purpose. The seed of thought becomes the fruit of experience. The ripple of action becomes the river of consequence, and mastery grows quietly, steadily, invisibly. In embracing the power of intention, the seeker discovers the profound truth of Shaolin teaching that the universe responds not to force, but to clarity, focus, and the disciplined alignment of mind, heart, and action. The world around us is a mirror of the world within. As October 15th approaches, signs and shifts may appear in the external, yet these changes are merely reflections of inner preparedness. Shaolin wisdom teaches that transformation begins quietly, in the hidden chambers of the mind and heart, long before it manifests outwardly. The practitioner who cultivates stillness, awareness, and disciplined presence discovers that the true shift is not in events, but in perception and response. Preparation for change is not a matter of schedules or strategy alone. It is a matter of aligning the self with higher clarity. Reflection becomes a tool to examine patterns, to release what no longer serves, and to recognize the energy one brings into every encounter. Courage is cultivated in the silent hours of practice, in confronting discomfort, and in choosing integrity over convenience. These are the foundations upon which meaningful transformation rests. Those who develop inner mastery do more than navigate their own path. They radiate influence. The clarity of mind, the steadiness of heart, and the precision of action become a living example, quietly guiding others without force or instruction. In this way, personal evolution ripples outward, contributing to the collective shift. Energy that is refined, intentional, and aligned has a subtle yet powerful effect on the wider world, inspiring balance and insight in ways unseen but deeply felt. The Shaolin perspective reveals that no external change can substitute for the inner work required. October 15th is not merely a date marked by events, it is a mirror reflecting readiness, courage, and presence. Those who cultivate discipline, mindfulness, and alignment step into it fully, transforming not only themselves but the space around them. The shift is within, and from this inner foundation, the outer world begins to resonate with the clarity, wisdom, and strength of those who have mastered themselves. The shift approaching is not a distant event. It is a reflection of the readiness cultivated within. Shaolin teachings remind us that stillness, presence, discipline, and conscious action are not mere practices, but tools to navigate life with clarity and purpose. By turning inward, observing the mind, and aligning intention with action, each of us can move through change not as a victim of circumstance, but as a master of self. Every moment offers an opportunity to apply these principles. A pause before reacting, a mindful breath in times of tension, a choice guided by awareness rather than impulse. Small, consistent actions build resilience, and inner mastery transforms uncertainty into insight. In this way, one not only endures the shifts of life, but transcends them, becoming a living conduit of wisdom, calm, and clarity that radiates beyond the self. Carry these lessons into your daily life and allow them to shape your perspective, your decisions, and the energy you bring to every interaction. Transformation begins quietly within, and from that inner space, the world around you begins to shift in harmony. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this message resonates, subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire and stay connected to the path of mastery, presence, and mindful living. Let stillness guide you, let awareness anchor you, and let your life reflect the quiet power of inner alignment.